History of Singapore. Singapore has a rich and complex history that spans over several centuries. Here is a brief overview of its history. Early history. Singapore's earliest known history dates back to the 3rd century when it was a part of the Sri Vijayan Empire. The island was then known as Temasek, which means sea town in Javanese. Over the centuries, Singapore came under the influence of various powers, including the Javanese, the Siamese, and the Majapahit Empire. Colonial era. In 1819, Sir Stamford Raffles of the British East India Company arrived on the island and established a trading post. This marked the beginning of Singapore's transformation from a sleepy fishing village into a bustling port city. The British developed Singapore into a major trading hub and established a colonial government. World War II. During World War II, Singapore was occupied by the Japanese. The Japanese occupation was a period of great suffering for the people of Singapore. The occupation ended in 1945 when the British returned to Singapore. Independence. In 1959, Singapore became a self-governing state within the British Commonwealth. In 1963, Singapore joined Malaysia, but this union did not last long, and in 1965, Singapore became an independent nation. Modern era. Since independence, Singapore has rapidly developed into a modern, prosperous, and cosmopolitan city-state. The government has focused on economic growth and the improvement of the standard of living for its citizens. Singapore has become a hub for finance, trade, and technology, and is considered one of the most prosperous countries in the world. Here are some additional important events in Singapore's history. Lee Kuan Yew. Lee Kuan Yew, who became the first Prime Minister of Singapore in 1959, played a crucial role in shaping the country's modern history. He led the government through a period of rapid economic growth, and his policies transformed Singapore into a modern city-state. Lee Kuan Yew remained in power for over 3 decades, and his legacy continues to shape Singaporean politics today. Race riots. In the 1960s, Singapore experienced several race riots between the Chinese and Malay communities. These events highlighted the deep-seated tensions between different ethnic groups in Singapore and led to government policies promoting racial harmony and social integration. Global financial crisis. In 1997, Singapore was hit hard by the Asian financial crisis, which led to a severe recession. However, the government's response, which included fiscal stimulus and structural reforms, helped Singapore recover quickly. Lee Hsien Loong. Lee Kuan Yew's son, Lee Hsien Loong, became the Prime Minister of Singapore in 2004. His government has continued to focus on economic growth and has implemented policies to promote innovation and entrepreneurship. COVID-19 pandemic. In 2020, Singapore, like many other countries, was hit hard by the COVID-19 pandemic. The government responded quickly, implementing measures such as contact tracing, quarantine, and social distancing. These efforts have helped to contain the spread of the virus, and Singapore has been praised for its handling of the pandemic. Today, Singapore is a prosperous and modern country with a diverse population and a strong economy. Its history has shaped its culture, society, and politics, and its future continues to be shaped by its leaders and citizens. Here are some additional notable events and developments in Singapore's history. Multiculturalism and language policy. Singapore is a highly multicultural society, with significant populations of Chinese, Malay, Indian, and other ethnic groups. The government has promoted a policy of multiculturalism and racial harmony, while also implementing a language policy that emphasizes English as the main language of business, education, and government. Other languages, such as Chinese, Malay, and Tamil, are also widely spoken and taught in schools. Education and human capital. Singapore places a strong emphasis on education and human capital development. The country has a highly educated workforce and has invested heavily in education and training programs. Singapore consistently ranks highly in international assessments of student achievement and has become a hub for education and research. Environmental sustainability. In recent years, Singapore has made significant efforts to promote environmental sustainability and reduce its carbon footprint. The government has implemented policies to promote green energy, reduce waste, and increase recycling. Singapore is also home to the Gardens by the Bay, a large public garden and nature park that showcases sustainable design and technologies. Arts and culture. Singapore has a vibrant arts and culture scene, with a diverse range of music, art, and performance venues. The government has invested in cultural infrastructure and programs to promote the arts, and Singapore hosts several major cultural events and festivals throughout the year, such as the Singapore Arts Festival and the Singapore International Film Festival. Political opposition. While Singapore is a democratic country, it has been criticized for restrictions on free speech and limitations on political opposition. The ruling People's Action Party, PAP, has been in power since 1959, and opposition parties have historically struggled to gain traction. However, recent years have seen some progress towards a more competitive political landscape, with opposition parties winning a small number of seats in parliamentary elections. Here are a few more significant events and developments in Singapore's history. Technology and innovation. In recent years, Singapore has become a leading center for technology and innovation. The government has implemented policies to encourage research and development, and has invested in infrastructure and programs to support startups and entrepreneurs. Singapore is now home to many leading technology companies and has become a hub for innovation and entrepreneurship in Asia. Housing and urban development. Singapore is known for its high-quality public housing, which provides affordable and well-designed homes for the majority of the population. The government has implemented a comprehensive housing policy, which includes public housing construction, home ownership programs, and targeted subsidies for low-income families. Singapore is also known for its well-designed urban infrastructure, which includes efficient transportation systems, green spaces, and public amenities. Foreign relations. Singapore maintains close relationships with many countries in the region and around the world. The country is a member of several international organizations, including the United Nations, the World Trade Organization, and the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, ASEAN. Singapore has also played a role in promoting regional security and stability, and has hosted several high-profile international meetings and summits. COVID-19 vaccination campaign. Singapore has been praised for its efficient and effective COVID-19 vaccination campaign, which has been one of the most successful in the world. The government has prioritized vaccinations for its population, and has used a variety of measures to encourage uptake, including mobile vaccination centers and vaccine incentives. As of early 2022, over 80% of Singapore's population has been fully vaccinated. Overall, Singapore's history is a complex and dynamic one, shaped by its geography, culture, and politics. Despite its relatively small size, Singapore has played a significant role in regional and global affairs, and has become a model for economic development and modernization. Here are some additional events and developments that have shaped Singapore's history. Singapore's independence. Singapore gained independence from Malaysia in 1965, after a period of political and economic tensions between the two countries. This marked a significant turning point in Singapore's history, as the country had to navigate its own path without the support of a larger political entity. The government focused on economic development and social stability, which led to a period of rapid growth and modernization. Financial and economic hub. Singapore has become one of the world's leading financial and economic hubs, with a highly developed financial sector and a diverse economy. The government has implemented policies to promote foreign investment and trade, and has encouraged the growth of industries such as manufacturing, finance, and technology. Singapore is also a major center for shipping and logistics, due to its strategic location. Social policies and welfare. Singapore has a reputation for being a highly disciplined and structured society, with strict laws and regulations. However, the government has also implemented social policies and welfare programs to support vulnerable groups, such as the elderly and low-income families. Singapore has a comprehensive healthcare system, which provides affordable and high-quality medical care for its citizens. Singaporean identity and nationalism. Singapore has a unique identity and sense of nationalism, which is shaped by its diverse cultural heritage and history. The government has implemented policies to promote a shared sense of identity and social cohesion, such as national service and the promotion of shared values. Singaporeans are proud of their country's achievements and often emphasize the importance of social harmony and stability. Religion and diversity. Singapore is a highly diverse society, with significant populations of different religions and beliefs. The government has implemented policies to promote religious harmony and tolerance, while also regulating the activities of religious groups to ensure social stability. Singapore is home to many religious sites and festivals, which reflect the country's multicultural heritage. Overall, Singapore's history is a complex and multifaceted one, shaped by a variety of social, economic, and political factors. Despite its challenges, Singapore has emerged as a prosperous and innovative society, with a strong sense of national identity and pride.